Hey guys, it's Melanie Hinds. I'm usually your fastest Iraqi dinar somewhere on the net, but this is an extra video today for those who know I was late this morning and then I had my Zoom. So I'm going through all the detailed articles coming out of Iraq because I didn't get to go over all of them. So I'm going to go over them all in this one place. This is your one place for the detailed articles. I don't know if I'm going to go through all the detail. We'll see how the titles are if I don't want to go into them because it's all about war and fear mongering. There's Roxy. She's my 12-year-old female rescue, and there's Tuck. He's my 12 and a half, he's almost 13-year-old lab husky rescue. And then there's my AKC 100% American lab. She loves pulling sticks off the wood pile and chewing on them. It's fine. That's her thing. My husband is at the dump. He might be driving up. I'm in my backyard, my new backyard where my patio is going to be. So I'm trying different backgrounds for you to see. The river's there, out there, and this is my house. So welcome to my family. Welcome to my location in Maine. It's the best place to be in the summer. So here are some of those articles, and again, I'm going to go through them quite quickly. I don't know how long this is going to be. We'll just have to see. I've never done one like this. I usually do this live, but everybody's on the Zoom. They're still chatting, and so none of my moderators are available because they're all on my membership Zoom. See, when you get a membership to my Zoom, you also get a lot of private time with everybody. I had to go when it was over, but everybody's still chatting. So I'm just going to do this recorded and load it. But guys, I love you all. I'm glad we're such a family that you like to chat even after I leave and the official part is over. And I don't know if Jack stayed on because he was off. He was going to be able to get a drink because they've been doing 4-hour shifts in bunkers because of everything going on. They felt an earthquake last night. I was communicating with them all night. So these are the articles that came out of Iraq. Again, military-approved articles only. So here we go. Here's the first one. International Chamber of Commerce. Investment companies' activity expands amidst the security situation in Iraq. It says the International Chamber of Commerce confirmed on Sunday that investment companies' activity is expanding amid the security situation in Iraq, while stating that large foreign company investments require Iraq operating companies and staff. Iraq is a fertile country for investment, especially with the recent remarkable and successful steps taken by the government to overcome many administrative and legal issues to advance the private sector. Mohsin al-Hamadawi, head of the International Chamber of Commerce, told the news agency. The arbitration process between companies will help many companies invest in Iraq because their rights are now guaranteed from a legal and administrative standpoint. And the International Chamber of Commerce will continuously monitor all contracts concluded with companies. Iraq lost a lot of years due to a lack of arbitration. Any problem that arose between the companies and the government would be referred to Abu Dhabi or France. Now arbitration is available through the International Chamber of Commerce. That is a huge change, guys, that's going to attract investment in Iraq. We have important conditions to protect these companies from procrastination and to secure their rights. Companies are now safer at work and more active in light of the security that Iraq enjoys. During the past 2 years of the government's tenure, more than 150 companies have signed contracts for oil, gas, and other projects, particularly the Development Road Project. More than a year ago, we officially announced that all companies worldwide, through the International Chamber of Commerce, the launch of the International Chamber of Commerce in Iraq. This has encouraged companies to enter and invest. Large foreign companies that undertake major projects will inevitably need Iraqi companies and to employ Iraqi workers. This will encourage more small and large Iraqi companies to invest with foreign companies and take on what are called subcontractors or major contracts. Iraq companies, whether large or small, are not deficient and will deal with this event well. Guys, that was a good article. I read all the details because I thought it was important for you to hear all those details. The Iranian rial loses over 10% against the euro and dollar. Now, I think until these go like Iraq is going, which is digital, where they can go to their banks and turn their paper currency into digital, you're going to see the fiat currencies lose their value because everybody knows the gig is up. They're fiat. So they're all going to move to digital currencies where they're backed by assets, ISO 222 compliant, etc. Banks that deal in these currencies will have to be Basel III compliant, which in America I think is by July. So let me know down below if you agree. Iranian's rial weakened sharply and heightened tensions among the outbreak of conflict with Israel, according to the official exchange sources on Monday. Dealers and money exchangers in Tehran reported the currency lost roughly 12% of its value against the euro and 13% against the US dollar. Already strained by years of international sanctions, the rial now faces further pressure from regional unrest and mounting uncertainty surrounding the projects for a renewed nuclear deal. As a result, the black market price for the euro has climbed beyond 1 million reals, while the one US dollar has recorded 960 to 980,000 reals. So you need to understand the other system is going away and the new system is coming. So I'm the right place to be because I understand both sides, being a former auditor with Pricewaterhouse and also being a holder of foreign currencies for about 13 years and this month. I'm very aware, and also being in the crypto space, I am bridged perfectly to help you understand these new digital systems, even if you never understood them before. So I'm a good place to be. Please subscribe and tap the bell. And I have the latest military intel out of Iraq. There's my dogs. I'm just keeping an eye on them while I'm doing the loading, while I'm doing the recording. So again, I've never done this. This is new for me. I just figured I would do it while I'm watching the dogs. So they're expanding. The next article was... U.S. keeps missions open despite security alert. The United States has kept its embassy in Baghdad and consulate in Erbil open despite issuing security alerts on Sunday, warning of mounting threats to its personnel and facilities in Iraq. A spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy confirmed that the alert followed a directive issued on June 11th by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, ordering the departure of non-essential government employees from both diplomatic posts. The spokesperson described the move as a precautionary measure, adding that there is no higher priority for the department than ensuring the safety and security of all U.S. citizens overseas, as well as our mission personnel. The official also pointed to ongoing engagement with political stakeholders, reiterating support for Iraq's sovereignty and cooperation with both governmental institutions and broader public. The security warning came hours after Iran-aligned armed groups. There's a problem over there. They threatened to strike U.S. targets. But if you were on my live stream yesterday, Iraq urged them not to target military targets inside of Iraq, and it appears as though they've listened. So that was that article. So now we go down to the next article that came in the middle of the night. Iraq warns of possible oil price surge to $300 per barrel, which is going to be good for everybody. It says the Iraqi Minister of Foreign Affairs, Fuad Hussein, warned on Saturday that the Strait of Hormuz might be closed due to the Israel-Iran confrontation, causing the global market to lose millions of barrels of oil per day at a price increase of between $200 to $300 a barrel. Hussein's remarks took place during his phone conversation with the German Minister of Foreign Affairs, Johann Wadephal, during which he mentioned that if military operations between Iran and Israel continue, the global markets will lose approximately 5 million barrels per day produced by Iraq in the Gulf states, according to a statement. The Iraqi foreign minister stressed the Israel-Iran conflict will cause unexpected spike in oil prices, aggravating the worldwide inflation issue and harming the economy of both oil producers and importers, particularly Iraq. During various phone calls in Iraq's diplomatic effort to address the rapid developments in the Middle East, Hussein emphasized the gravity of Israel's military assault on Iran, as well as serious violations. Hussein urged the international community to reject the Israeli violations, emphasizing that continued military escalation does not serve regional stability, but instead threatens to spark a large-scale conflict with serious security and economic consequences for the region and the world. So they're being smart. They're thinking about their economic interests instead of just saber-rattling with war. Guys, I love when statesmen prevail. Where are my dogs? I gotta make sure where they are. Oh, they're all by the fence. So I gotta make this quick. They're in the shade, which is good. Guys, I love my backyard. It's got a series of, it's got shade spaces throughout the day because of this one lone tree that's left. I love trees. If you love trees, go hug a tree. You'll get some energy from it. I'm just saying. I'm not a tree hugger. I'm really not. But anyways, I love this space, my outdoor space. So the next article, hold on. Guys, again, I've never done this. I might edit some of the slower paces out. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I really don't. Oh, that was strange. The browser broke off. I don't know. So, next article, guest list for G77. Guest list for G7 summit tells of global challenges. This is big news. The G7 may be a small elite club, but when its leaders gather in Canada, several other nations' heads will attend as guests, highlighting the group's efforts to adapt to a fast-changing world. The leaders of India, Ukraine, Mexico, South Africa, and South Korea are among a carefully selected guest list drawn up at a time of global turmoil and a radical new U.S. approach to world affairs. Absolutely. It's very crazy what's going on, but at least we have somebody fighting for us. If you disagree with his policies, then you can just wait until it changes, because I had to wait. Hey, Macy, get off there. So anyways, the leaders are going to meet each other. You heard the list. That's all you need from that. That affects your Iraqi dinar. Iraq is working well with the U.S., so they're not going, it looks like. They hosted it last year. There's trading platforms, as you know, everything's going digital. I've been the one that's talked about that. We talked about the truth about some other intel providers who didn't acknowledge me, called me a liar and stuff. Guys, I forgive everybody. I forgive everybody, and I don't care what they think of me. I serve your interests best. The guys on the ground said, we felt an earthquake or a bunker buster a while ago. Lost internet for a while, but it's back now. Good morning. I think the big nuclear site had a little quake from all the bombing in that area. We'll see what happens, guys, as we look at the articles. And so then later on in the morning, as I started my live stream, he sent this. Iraqi expert, Mideast oil conflict could spike oil past $100. We just read a detailed article about over 300, so 100 to 300 is good for our investment in Iraq. That's all you need to know. What goes on here once the wealth transfer, it's to keep you safe. Israeli death toll rises as Iran launches hundreds of missiles. Yeah, it's really bad, guys. War is bad for everybody. It's bad for citizens that are innocent, but just be grateful that our leader is not going to lead us into another war. Middle East, 4 explosions rock Western Iran as Israel strikes. They're all close, guys. They could hear the bombs. They could see the bombs flying too. Middle East, Israel Defense Minister warns Tehran will pay the price amid night escalation. Well, we're not going to read that here because I like my channel to stay up. Middle East, Syria strikes turned war zone. Civilians fear collateral damage. Yep, civilians are always a collateral damage. That's a problem with war. I prayed for all my members on my channel, for their families that are in harm's way, and for all our military, police, and fire that are in harm's way from all the chaos around the world. It's not just over there. Middle East, Iranian missiles hit Haifa, strike Kiev military sites. I'm not even going to look at that one. Well, no, he said there's a dome that's working. So let's see. Iranian missiles hit Haifa, strike key military sites. It was a good picture. It said, I can't show it to you because it's on my everything's on my MacBook right now. Iranian missile strikes hit several locations across Israel late Sunday, with Haifa and nearby areas sustaining significant damage, the media reported. The Israel Broadcasting Authority confirmed direct impacts to 2 residential buildings in Haifa. Several nearby structures also suffered extensive damage. One of the targets was a Rafael Advanced Defense System complex in Haifa, a key Israel military research site. Iran's armed forces and the strikes were part of a broader operation against military security and strategic centers, and warned that other sensitive locations remained within range. Further, South missile impacts triggered fires and damage in Kiryat Gat. Media reports said Iranian properties also struck the side near Moshe. Emergency teams responded to burning buildings. Guys, it's really hard. It's really hard to see that, and I'm an empath, so I get affected by that. So I try not to focus on war. I try to instead focus on the wealth transfer. And with God, nothing is impossible. Gold prices drop in Baghdad and Erbil. Yep, it happens during wartime. Economic dollar prices drop. That is the physical USD. That's fiat dollar prices that drop. The digital, I don't know what the digital dollar. Right now, they don't have a digital dollar format. I mean, the USDC, the US digital coin, is on X. Or on X. It's on, what is it? It's on XRP. So, you know, you need to understand there is a digital version of the US dollar, and it's in your bank accounts already. Iranian rial loses over 10% against the euro dollar. Yep, these are the the fiat currencies are in stark contrast to the U.S. digital that are backed by assets. You just need to understand that. If you've ever heard of the quantum financial system, it's already in place, in my opinion. And we do have digital coins that are backed by assets. That just hasn't been revealed yet. Decline in Iraqi oil exports to the U.S. There's a decline in oil exports to the U.S. because of the season we're in. People don't need oil when it's summer here. And it is hot all over. So here's another article. Again, this is the detailed articles. I've never done this before. We'll see how this goes. I may or may not ever do this again. Baghdad, let me know. Comment down below if you like this. Baghdad operations commander orders removal of concrete blocks surrounding the new Abu Ghraib checkpoint. Lieutenant General Walid Khalifa al-Tamimi ordered the removal of concrete blocks surrounding the new Abu Ghraib checkpoint on Monday. The operations command said as part of the approach adopted by the operations command to remove concrete blocks and checkpoints in order to reduce traffic congestion and ease the burden on citizens. By the way, he says during his field tour, accompanied by a number of staff officers, they ordered the removal, and it says, through the engineering efforts of the operations command, in addition to reorganizing and arranging them, it will continue to remove checkpoints and reduce armed presence in various areas and neighborhoods of the capital, Baghdad, after assessing them from a security and service perspective. Basically, Iraq is secure and stable, and they've proven it over and over again. There were articles that I'm going to get to that I think I talked about today on the Zoom that said they're financially stable. Financially prosperous in Iraq was the words. So here's another article. The federal court clarifies the retirement salary for general managers. Only 3.6%, according to the census, is over the retirement age. But it says a statement by the court received stated that the federal Supreme Court, pursuant to its decision issued on November 13, 2024, ruled that paragraph 8 of that article of the United Retirement Law is unconstitutional. The above-mentioned paragraph stipulated general managers in all government departments are entitled to a retirement salary not exceeding 80% of the total of the last salary and allowances they received in accordance with the provisions of this law. So, they're still battling out in the courts for their retirement plans. Why? They've been devastated. They didn't have retirement plans. Now they're working on implementing retirement plans for those who survived. And if you worked in the military or you were a government employee, you'd want a retirement plan if you were over 64. You have it in the U.S. Iraq is up and coming. They are trying to get this through there so that they can have if they're working on retirement laws, they are a global first world country, is what I'm saying. Prime Minister, Iraq made efforts to stop the aggression through contacts with leaders and foreign ministries of countries. Yes, they wanted to stop the aggression. They've all been about peace. They affirmed that today, that Iraq has made significant efforts to halt the aggression by conducting numerous contacts with leaders and foreign ministers around the world. Prime Minister Mohammed Shah al-Sudani received a number of heads of diplomatic missions from Asian and American countries operating in Iraq and the ambassadors of Australia and Turkey. He stressed that the Zionist occupation government does not recognize international humanitarian laws and has been committing crimes and massacres since the events of October of my favorite number 7, pointing to the failure of the international community, which bears a responsibility of maintaining peace and security. Iraq urges the international community and the United States to play their part in halting the aggression and adopting a peaceful solution through resuming negotiations. Iraq has made significant efforts to halt the aggression by conducting numerous contacts with leaders and foreign ministers of countries around the world. He said full solidarity with Iran, which represents an important sovereign in their eyes. You know, they're Muslim. They like Muslim states, just like we like Christian, right? So they're on the opposite side that the U.S. is on. So, but it's a matter of whether you trust our leader to negotiate, to not lead us into a world war. We already are in a war, right? So, you need to decide what you believe. And I don't like critical comments. If they're really bad, if they're toxic, I'll remove them. If you get on my live streams, I will hear your questions, but please don't denigrate anybody's name personally. And that includes Iraqi Dinar Intel people that differ from the digital space that I'm talking from. IAEA, no damage at Iran's Fordow fuel enrichment plant. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad. You decide. There was no damage at their fuel enrichment plant. I think they just targeted the leadership. I'm just saying. That's usually what they do. So the Minister of Interior arrives at the Raqqa border crossing to monitor the smooth flow of pilgrims' return movements. It says a statement from the ministry stated that the Minister of Interior arrived at the Arwar border crossing, accompanying the Undersecretary of the Ministry for Police Affairs, the commander of the border forces, the commander of the Karbala operations, the head of the Border Ports Authority, and a number of offices. He met with everybody. He said the Minister of Interior inspected the mechanism for receiving Iraqi and non-Iraqi pilgrims, including 75,000 pilgrims from the Islamic Republic of Iran, in the reverse grouping process at this land port. The importance of providing the best service to pilgrims and caring for them. The need to intensify efforts to receive Iraqi pilgrims who were unable to return to their countries due to recent events in the region, and to treat them well, check on their well-being, and accompany them until they reach their country's ports. He takes care of his citizens like all good leaders do. My dogs are barking because my husband just arrived home. So I'm going to finish this as fast as I can, and then I'll do my summary a little bit later after I have some family time, because my husband's been working the last 8 days. The judiciary recovers 4 billion dinars in financial fraud. Yay! It's because of the new systems, guys. It's because they're on a digital system. Just saying, they can upload the files and figure it out. So this article says the Supreme Judicial Council said in a statement received, the second Kark Invest Court today received an amount of 4 billion Iraqi dinars for a financial fraud scheme, indicating that the amount was recovered from the company that violated the law to obtain the difference in the dollar exchange rate through fraudulent money transfers outside the country. He added the second Kark Investigation Court, through significant efforts and under the supervision of the court's first judge, recovered this amount, noting that these efforts are continuing to take legal action against the remaining companies that follow illegal methods to obtain large profits, which harbor public funds. Guys, they're cracking down on these foreign currency dealers, that it's very clear that it's illegal to use the U.S. dollar in the Iraqi borders. And so they're cracking down on companies that are taking advantage of that. This article, I think I covered this morning. Prime Minister's advisor, Iraq is qualified to become a regional financial center with 4 strategic powers. I did go into this in detail this morning, guys. Iraq is poised. It even says that, in here it says, you can look at the live stream this morning. It says, let's see, achieving financial flows that make it a financial and economic pillar in the economic geography of the Middle East. By achieving large financial surpluses that can be directed to investment in financial infrastructure, he stated that Iraq has foreign reserves exceeding 100 billion, which provides it with a significant financial safety margin, confidence in monetary stability, and high financial investment attractiveness. The second factor is Iraq's unique geoeconomic location, which is a vital corridor linking the world north to its south, which represents an economic space between global markets and their financial and commercial attractions, with links that provide important climates for the concentration of regional financial markets, which will revolve around the strategy of the development project linking Europe and the Gulf. The third factor is the demographic or human factor. The high percentage of youth, more than 60% under the age of 30, will provide a flexible human base that can be trained in financial technology, banking innovation, digital technology, and artificial intelligence. He noted that the government is undertaking the establishment of an important college for artificial intelligence sciences and inputs to the financial labor market and its foundations. The fourth factor is modernizing and restructuring governance in government-owned banks, given that they currently control 80% or more of the banking activity. Guess what? Those government banks have been audited and they're on the digital platforms. He emphasized that the reform campaigns being led by the government today for the aforementioned banks aims to transform Iraq into a global financial center after ridding of the risk of bureaucracy and inefficiency inherited over many decades. Amen. This system is going to keep them from even voting old Iranian politicians or any old politicians back in. He said only fresh faces in this upcoming election. He pointed out the importance of electronic payments and the gradual expansion of the use of bank cards, point-of-sale, collection systems, and smart wallets, which have helped achieve significant leaps in digital financial inclusion. This is coupled with the presence of the Iraqi Stock Exchange and the Securities Commission, which operate in a robust, integrated, and promising manner as an infrastructure to establish Iraq as a regional hub for consolidating the country's institutional financial stability. The legal, executive, and regulatory infrastructure requirements are the key lever for enabling this transformation. These include, for example, including banks to effective electronic payment platforms and supporting the development of the current national data center to serve as a sovereign digital financial infrastructure that supports Iraq's efforts to transform into a regional financial center. Boom, chicka, boom, boom, boom. That is evidence of everything I've been saying since last Sunday. I'm ahead of everybody by at least a week. He pointed out that Iraq's transformation into a regional financial center will be achieved through the collection and integration of financial banking and economic data, supporting smart money and financial policies. That's the digital system. Enabling financial technology and smart data analysis, AI, enhancing it didn't say it, I added that. Enhancing transparency and governance of financial institutions, stimulating the non-banking financing sector, such as microfinance companies, reforming the insurance sector, and licensing financial technology, the fintech companies. He pointed out that the current political, legal, and institutional stability of our country enjoys today in a prosperous and solid manner is the true basis for financial strength. There is no financial center without a stable and secure political and legal environment. He emphasized the importance of building regional and international partnerships, such as studying the importance of joining regional payment systems and financial structures of international groups, such as the G20 or BRICS, or partnerships with strong financial centers in Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong, and others. Guys, they have a global currency that's already operating on the digital platforms. You're just not aware of it because I'm the only one talking about it. Go to my channel. I've been talking about it for a while. Guys, that's enough. That's all I got for you right now. And I will do the summary later of everybody, but I've hit the highlights. What do you think? Comment down below if you like this. I'm not promising I can do this ever again. This is 25 minutes, detailed articles out of Iraq because I couldn't get to them to this morning because I was too busy getting to my live stream. Thank you. I'll see you later. I got to go spend some time with my family. Love you. Peace.